Yeah. Okay. Okay, ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, welcome to the Husker Hype Radio Podcast, episode 35. We got Aaron Worsfold, we got Dr. Motherfucking E-Rock in the house, and your boy Eddie Rosenthal. Folks, just another day in paradise here. It's snowing in Nebraska. It's sunny in Southern California. Sorry about it, boys. But you know what? That cold makes you tough, and it's a good thing to be at. That's what Matt Rule recruits on. He says, yeah, you can go play in Florida, but when you get drafted by the Green Bay Packers, your ass is going to be sorry, bud. You know,
Well,
and that's just
and another thing is like Nebraska on snow days, going sledding is the best stuff. There's a lot of good positive stuff about snow. I mean, it's not always sunny like it is in Southern California, but it's got the perks.
it does, man. There's good things about snow, and it makes you a fucking man. And when it snows, there's money to be made. You can go shoveling. You can go to Aunt Ethel's house and make $20. You can fucking do your thing and maybe pick up a little dime sack after with the boys. Never mind.
Not
That
here
was
in
back
Nebraska
that was back in
again.
high
Not
school.
yeah, not here in Nebraska because it's illegal.
Yeah, right. I forgot about that. Um, all right. Well, let's get right into it, fellas. Today we're going to be breaking down over these next 2 weeks, we're going to be breaking down the offense and the defense, kind of give them grades position by position, what we think about, specific players, give some MVPs, all of that. Pretty much going by each position and breaking it down and just giving our thoughts on the entire season so far, and then maybe giving some projected depth charts, way too early projected depth charts for the 2024 season. Before we do that, yesterday, January 8th, was the national championship game. Michigan, Jimmy Harbaugh, and the Wolverines beat Washington 34-13. Boys, I know we watched the game. What do we think about it?
I think it was a lot closer than the scoreboard indicated. I think that Washington missed on a couple key shots. Penix was off his game, and Michigan took advantage of it.
I agree with you. I think that Michael Penix played his worst game so far this year, and there was 3, 4, 5 throws that if he would have made, if there wasn't a holding call that brought it back, would have changed the game dramatically. I mean,
I
that interception to start the first half, if those guys would have drove down and scored there, I think that the game would have been a hell of a lot different. And if Washington just played the way that they played the whole year, they very
I
well could
think
have.
I think you guys are wrong. I think Michigan should have won by more points. I had Michigan before the game. You guys had Washington. Michigan, there was a good quarter and a half there in the middle of the game where they just kept punting the ball. Their quarterback, JJ McCarthy, I've been saying it, mid, can't throw the ball. He did good running a few times there, but Michigan's running game, super good. Their defense, super good. And they made Washington's super good offense look like shit. And Penix just got his ass kicked all game. He ended the game holding his side because he just kept getting the fucking straw shaken up there, dude. Michigan's a way better team than Washington. That's just a fact.
Aaron, you said though in the middle of the game that Washington was stopping Michigan's run off. They were stopping their whole offense for a good amount of time. And then it just came to the point where it was too late and Michigan almost just fucking kind of put the pity points up, if you will. I think that Washington, they kind of at the fourth quarter said, you know what? Michael Penix, he's not doing his job. And I don't know if it was even Michigan that made Washington be bad at offense. I think it was Washington that made Washington be bad at offense. I think it was their mistakes alone, not so much Michigan's defense putting the hurt on them. They beat themselves that game.
No, there's no, well, you can't say that. We'll have
They
to
missed
get
two wide
graded
open
this.
touchdowns. They had two wide open touchdowns. Missed the wide
Yeah.
receiver twice. That's not
I,
defense. That's a
I
throw.
You're talking about 2 plays. I'm talking about the whole game. I think overall,
That's
just Michigan
that's
played a
two
bit.
touchdowns. That's 14 points.
Yeah, and fucking coulda, shoulda, woulda, 2 plays. Who knows? Maybe he doesn't even score a touchdown on those plays.
But he does. But he
But he,
does.
but he did it. And the fact of the matter is they lost.
Right. I know. But what you're saying is that Michigan did it. No, I'm not going to give credit to Michigan whooping their ass. I don't want to give credit to fucking the cheating Wolverines whooping ass. Fuck those bitches. Washington did not win. Yeah. Let's get Michigan outright national champions. But the game, like Eli said, the score was a lot. The score did not indicate what I felt like the game was. And we can agree to disagree. That's what I think though. And Ernest Hausman, former Nebraska Cornhusker from Columbus, Nebraska, decided to jump ship and go win a national championship. Good for him. Can't put any blame on Ernest. He was their third highest tackler this season. So I mean, we really fucking missed a player in that. We know damn well if we need somebody next year, it's a linebacker. And too bad Ernest is on the Wolverines. Will Nixon, a former Nebraska player as well, who I really don't remember. I kind of remember his name a little bit, but he fucked up. He dropped a couple of passes for Washington. He dropped some key passes for Washington. I think one on 3rd and 5 that was right in his hands, and he looked upfield, and then before he caught it, you guys remember that?
Yeah.
Yeah. So
a lot of drops. I feel like this game, we said it last week after the semifinal games, there was a lot of like mistakes that you wouldn't really expect to see in like a national championship by the 2 best teams in the nation.
Right. Yeah, Washington made way too many mistakes to be playing in that game. And I think that just goes to show like Michigan the last 3 years have been in the playoffs. Those guys were ready to play on a big stage. And that might have been their key to winning the game there is that those guys, they're almost due, so to speak.
A lot different team next year coming from Michigan. A lot different team.
Yeah.
Almost every position is losing a starter. 3 offensive linemen, quarterback, running back, wide receiver, 3 people in the secondary. But they'll still be solid.
Are they losing their head coach?
I hope so.
Are they losing their head coach?
I hope so.
I mean, Titans got an open position now. Vrabel just got fired today, which I have no idea why. That was kind of a shocker to me. Yeah. Ron Rivera, he's out as of yesterday. We got the Raiders and we got the Chargers. Am I missing another team? They possibly Belichick.
Yeah, the Falcons, they lost coach too.
Falcons as well. So there's
the Panthers. The Panthers don't have a coach, so I think that they got fired too.
Panthers too. Their whole fucking GM and everything. I think they got wiped, right?
I think so.
Yeah. So I mean, there's a lot of open positions in the NFL, and I've heard rumors Raiders and Harbaugh are mutually interested. Chargers.
Here's my take. I think Harbaugh stays for 1 more year. Some more shit happens with the NCAA. The Bears fire their coach next year, and then Harbaugh goes to the Bears. Next year, not after next football season, after 2024.
Yeah.
What 1 more year? Because I think JJ's got 1 more year left. So I feel like he'll probably want to coach him. I don't know. I'm just throwing shit out there.
I heard in JJ's interview, he kind of hinted at, this is the last time we're all going to be together. So I think he might be headed to the draft.
That's what I heard him say too. He said 1 last ride for this team. So that kind of feels like Form's gone.
Do you think that's because is there a way that he could be like, oh, this team? Because I keep hearing they keep saying team 135, like that's their team, like they'll, what I'm saying? It could be that too, but
that could be true. It could be
if JJ goes to the draft, he's dumb. He's not good. He needs 1 more year to like look good. I'm sorry, he's not going to be able to play quarterback in the NFL. He'll play like receiver, have to move around.
But me as a Husker fan, please go to the NFL.
Yeah,
please get out of the Big Ten.
I agree.
Please.
I don't even think that he's that good. How many? Sorry, boys, bad. Buddy only completed 10 passes last night. I mean,
but Buddy only lost 1 game in his entire career.
I know, but I think even if you switch the quarterbacks for that team,
They still win most of
They
them.
still win, right? That's what I'm saying.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I agree. I agree.
Like if you put all right, this is a
They got
stretch, but like
orgy. They got an orgy back there, bro.
you put JJ McCarthy on our team and you give them Dylan Raiola and they're still a fucking really good football team. I feel like, you know what I'm saying?
Well, because Dylan Raiola is the best quarterback in the country. I mean, what are
Well,
we
yeah,
talking
it's a bad, my bad, boys. That was a bad example. You're right. That was
Dude,
fucked up.
we should have just saw this year in the middle of the year. We should have like Matt and Jim should have went like, hey, let's just see what happens. We'll give you Heinrich and we can take JJ.
Yeah.
And we'll just
Yeah.
just be fun. Just be something fun to do.
Yeah.
But yeah, I mean, so Michigan wins. Congrats to them. Whatever. Big Ten won. At least it wasn't the SEC that won a national championship. You know, that's good.
Or
I would
Texas.
or Texas. Speaking of Texas boys recruiting, we talked about it last week. It's officially said and done. You should have listened to Husker Hype Radio because it did fucking happen. Isaiah Neyor committed to Nebraska, all because of a guy named Dylan Raiola. Let's fucking go, folks. Let's go, baby. Really made an impact at Washington. Didn't really play at all at Texas. But I don't give a shit.
You got hurt.
Yeah, you got hurt. Isaiah Neyor is now a Husker, as well as Dante Dowdell, former Oregon running back. I think he only had 9 carries last year for Oregon. True freshman. They had a lot of guys playing running back for them, but his senior season, folks, in high school finished with 2,100 yards and 31 touchdowns, averaging 8.4 yards per carry. 5,300 total yards in high school.
Damn, son.
Damn, boy. And that just adds to that beast back in there, bro. I mean, we got EJ, we got fucking Ramir, Gabe, and now Dante. And you think we're gonna have fresh legs back there all year. All fucking year, dude. It's gonna be first down, Ramir, second down, Gabe, third down, Dante. If we need fourth down, go ahead and put Emmett there. 4th and 5. I don't care. Emmett will make it. He's got fresh fucking legs, bro. He'll turn that butter.
I could see Ramir getting like a more of a slot receiver weapon, and then sometimes coming in for running back. So I think we brought in Dante Dowdell to be the guy.
I think so too, and that also kind of subscribes to Matt Rule. Body blows is what he says, and Ramir is more of a wide H back type body type in Matt Rule's offenses. Gabe, Emmett, and Dante are big, fucking huge legs. Take it to the house. Get hard, gain hard yards. Yeah, gain hard yards.
Yep.
Yeah. I like that. And also, especially with Dylan Raiola, the run game will be less. He's a pocket passer. We're not going to rely on our running back this year, or our quarterback this year. I mean, like this year, our quarterback will not be the leading rusher.
Yes.
We know that.
I hope to God not.
If it is, we will win one game with Dylan. And
Maybe.
Yeah.
We might win a game if he's our leading rusher.
So that's a great little segue into our offensive ratings here, folks. Breaking down the 2023 offense. Let's go ahead and start with the quarterback position. Worst position on the offense so far this year. I think there's no question about that.
Depth-wise,
I mean, what else? What do you mean by that, Eli?
You're talking about 2023?
2023.
Not this upcoming year?
No, we're ranking and grading and the 2023 offense.
Oh, well, yeah. Worst fucking quarterback room. Yeah. In the Big Ten, maybe.
Almost in the nation.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, we started with Jeff Sims early in the year. He had this is making me hurt, bro.
Yeah.
Making me hurt. 28 for 47, 1 touchdown, boys and girls, 1 touchdown, 6 interceptions. My oh my. Jeffrey Sims, the savior of Nebraska from Georgia Tech. Matt Rule and Marcus Satterfield's hand-picked guy was not the guy.
Nope.
And after that Colorado game, got hurt. Heinrich stepped in, did what he could. 77 completions out of 157, 7 touchdowns, 7 interceptions. And then he got hurt, so we got Chuba in there, and it was 31 for 57, 2 touchdowns, 3 interceptions. I mean, overall, just so what? We had 10 touchdowns and 16 interceptions out of all of our quarterbacks combined. About an average of 50% completion percentage.
You got fumbles on there?
22 fumbles, I believe. 22 or 23 fumbles out of 27 from the total offense.
Oh my God.
So that just kind of puts into perspective, folks, how they say quarterback is really Patriots don't win any Super Bowls if they don't have Tom Brady. If Patriots, it really all comes down. If you got a lot of guys around you, kind of same with the offensive line. If you don't got a good quarterback, then you're fucked, bud.
I
You're
think
fucked.
the LVP has got to be Sims. He sucked cock. And then my MVP, I mean, like, it's really a toss-up. I feel like if Chuba was healthy all year, we actually would have been decent, but I feel like all the games we won were under Heinrich, so it's hard to say in my head who's the MVP.
I don't even know if I would put VP. I would just put like player, like the guy that just P. There is no MVP for the quarterback room this year.
The most consistent player, it's going to be Jeff Sims because he was the most consistently terrible.
Bad. Yeah, correct. That's good. That's good, doctor. I like that, doctor. Prescribing L's.
Yeah, that's what he was doing.
You got me there, Eli. You got me there.
26 nationally in pass yards, 135 game. Folks, that's out of 130 teams.
And what does that look like without Jalen Lloyd's 370-yard bombs?
Right.
Yeah.
Probably
Exactly.
last.
Exactly. And Malachi Coleman's in there too.
Yeah,
I mean,
true.
I think we'd have to get it. I think we'd have to get it to Heinrich because he did win the 5 games. Like those 5 wins are under his belt. Jeff and Chuba, when they started, did not win any games. So you kind of got to give the player to Heinrich. But just overall, I think that you have to give the grade for the quarterbacks as an F. It was a miserable fail.
Yes.
You can't pass these guys, man. You can't pass them. You combined 22 turnovers in very crucial parts of the game as well. I mean, the last game, Chuba, we're driving down the field, fumbles when nobody he intercepts the interception when we're driving down the field. The game before that, on the 11-yard line, interception all the way back to the 20-yard line, was Maryland with a game-winning field goal. I mean, it goes down the list. Colorado game, the first fucking drive that Nebraska had it. We're driving down the field. Jeff Sims fumbles on a good snap. Almost every single game you can think of some, what the fuck was that fumble from all of these quarterbacks?
I agree.
And that's what makes the rushing attack for our team even more spectacular considering how good we were this year, comparatively.
Right. So let's leave those quarterbacks in the past. Dylan Raiola, he's going to be the savior of the universe. F grade for the quarterbacks. And if anybody wants to dispute that, go ahead in the comments and I will laugh at it because you're wrong. It's got to be an F. It's got to be an F.
There's no debate.
No debate. Okay, so let's go to what Aaron said. Let's go to rushing part of the game. Interesting season for the running backs room. Very early, both Ramir and Gabe Ervin went down on injury, season-ending injuries. Gabe's was a hip in the Northern Illinois game, if I'm correct.
In a meaningless part of the game.
At the end of the game. And he also walked off. Nobody thought that would have been a season-ending injury as it happened. Like it wasn't, stop the game. He walked off and just kind of held his hip next to Coach Barthel. Nobody thought anything about it. Next day, Gabe is out for the season. When did Ramir get hurt?
They were the
I
same
don't.
week. They were the same week.
Yeah, same game.
And Ramir's injury was
One's was a shoulder. Was his a shoulder?
I think separated AC joint in the shoulder or something like that. Something that
Well,
was also
because what if Gabe's was a leg, I know the other one was like an upper body and shoulder.
yeah. So those two guys, our best running backs, 1 and 2, the guys that we thought were going to be, we'd see those guys every other down all year out in the third game of the season. That leaves Emmett Johnson, who had 90 attempts for 411 yards, averaged 4.6 yards a carry with 2 touchdowns. I mean, Emmett Johnson coming in to this year, nobody really, Mr. Minnesota, we had high hopes for them, but playing true freshman running back at the University of Nebraska is not usually something that happens. And for what it's worth, I don't think that Emmett did too bad of a job.
No.
I think that from this season, if we can say anything, that the future definitely looks bright for Emmett Johnson.
Yes.
I'm not going to say he ran like Blake Corum or fucking Quinshon Judkins, but he did what he had to do coming in to Nebraska. And under the circumstances given, didn't do a bad job.
Yeah,
definitely.
and the top 6 rushers for the team, 3 of them were our quarterbacks. The other one's Anthony Grant. He'll be gone for
Anthony
next
Grant.
year.
Anthony Grant, man, very underwhelming season for Anthony Grant. I feel what do you think it was that
It
what
was
was
the
it?
fact that he had a yellow eagle before every play. I think he got in his head. I don't know. I don't know, man. It's probably a culmination of a lot of stuff.
He got in his head.
So
Like every great player says, the game's 90% mental. You start
yeah.
losing that 90%, you're done. And he, after that Minnesota fumble, when he was in the doghouse, he never got out of it.
Nope.
Right. And so out of the 22 of 27 turnovers that were quarterback, what, 3, maybe 4 of those were Anthony Grant?
Yeah,
I think
probably.
he had at least 3.
3. I want to say 3, yeah. I want to say 3.
That sounds about
So
right.
3 fumbles, so that's 25. You take out the quarterback fumbles and turnovers and Anthony Grant's turnovers, that's only 2 fumbles on the season. I mean, interceptions are going to happen, so maybe add about 5 or 6 there. So 7 turnovers all season for Nebraska. That doesn't look bad at all. But that's hindsight 2020, and we can't fix 2023. We're looking on to 2024. But very underwhelming season for Anthony Grant. He had more attempts than Emmett Johnson, 104 carries for 413 yards, 3 touchdowns. Sucks. Second team in rushing. Emmett Johnson only 2 yards behind him. So pretty much those guys tied second. Heinrich led the team in rushing with 120 attempts for 477 yards, 5 touchdowns, average 4 rushes a carry.
And if we remember a lot of Heinrich's, especially early runs, a lot of those were like those 40, 50-yard touchdown runs at the start of the season that really helped pad his stats.
Right,
Yep.
right. Against Northern Illinois and Louisiana Tech.
Yep.
The ones where we go Himberg for Heisman.
Fireball.
Good times. Good time. Good. It was fun while it lasted, boys.
Hey, it's Husker hype for a reason.
It was fun while it lasted. But yeah, rushing, it's kind of hard to grade these guys given like the circumstances. Like I was saying, I mean, Gabe Irvin Jr. back there and Ramir Johnson. I mean, we could have relied very heavily on those guys and maybe not have thrown the ball as much, relied on Heinrich with his arm. We were first in the Big Ten in rushing. We might have
for a while. I think we finished up worse than that, but I think we finished 3rd or 4th.
So for a majority of the season, we were first in the rushing in Big Ten, averaging 176 yards, I think, a game. I feel like if you see Gabe Irvin and Ramir in there both, that's maybe add another 50 yards, honestly.
Finished second in the Big Ten, 38th nationally. Pretty good considering. I mean, like when you have a really shitty quarterback and passing offense to still be able to run the ball decent.
They know it's coming.
Yeah, that
Yeah,
helped the
the
season.
box. 8 or 9 in the box every play. You
Right.
don't have to defend anybody.
Right. We did have a little bit of Fleeks action there as well. He came in. Josh Fleeks just kind of, got in when he had to. 17 carries, 130 yards, 1 touchdown, that 76-yard touchdown against Michigan. So without that, he had what? 130 minus 75. That's what? 70 yards? Something like that. Less than
Yeah,
100.
yeah.
So Josh Fleeks, just good for him. Last year playing football, helping out Coach Rule, doing what he can. But MVP for the rushing side of the offense, who are we going to give it to, guys?
I think this one's no doubter. It's Emmett Johnson.
I agree.
Yeah. Like with Aaron's what Aaron said with Heinrich, while he led the team in rushing, those big runs early in the year really padded those stats, and Emmett Johnson was really the workhorse through
Well,
the middle of the season.
exactly. Yeah. And especially for a young guy to come unexpectedly into a role to be the number one guy for a lot of circumstances, I think he did a great job, man. Good young man on that guy.
Right. And it was good to see him, kind of, I think that he took full advantage of that role. True freshman coming in. Yeah. So I think we all agree, Emmett Johnson, grades.
Grade.
This is tough.
This is tough. This is tough, but I'm gonna give the overall rush offense a B plus. I'm gonna give him a B plus. I'm being optimistic on that one. I'm giving him a B plus.
I feel like I could go from anywhere from C minus to B is where I'm at. Maybe C minus to C plus.
I
But
think a big.
also, would
Yep,
we
go
have
ahead.
won 5 games without any like we won those 5 games because of our rushing attack?
Right.
So I kind of like B, but I think I'm gonna go or B. You said B plus.
Yeah, I did say B plus.
I'm gonna go B. I'm gonna go B. Given the circumstances, any other team maybe a little bit less, but for this year, Nebraska, I'm gonna say the rushing was B because we relied on it so heavily on offense.
I think before you can give out grades, we forgot to talk about one group, and that's the offensive line. We're talking about rushing as a
Yeah,
group.
that kind of goes hand in hand. It does. It goes hand in hand with the rushing attack. You're right, Eli.
Last year, the offensive line, I would personally say, was probably the worst group on the entire team. And this year, they could arguably be the biggest upside on the entire team, besides defense. Not talking about defense, just on offense. So that's why I like the B there, because the offensive line has me excited for the future,
Right.
as opposed to our Achilles heel.
I pulled
Right.
a couple stats. I couldn't find the pressures, but I found the tackles for losses, and we let up 73, which is 6 a game, 87th in the nation. So not very good, honestly. That's why I gave our rushing game a B plus, because we still kind of got caught in the backfield a lot and ended up with a good amount of yards.
Yeah, I wonder if also some of that, like you can look at that on paper, but then also what is that Ramir not Emmett not reading the right hole, or
Or
um
Heinrich keeping the ball when he should have gave it. A lot of times did that early on too. Or
right,
Jeff did.
exactly.
Yep.
So those tackles for loss is not all the offensive line's fault. There's a lot of things in the backfield that could have prevented
Would
some
you
of
say
those.
that they're top half in the Big Ten,
What?
the offensive line? Would you say we have a top half for the Big Ten and for offensive line?
I don't know. It's Big Ten's like the elite offensive line. So based on my expectations of them, they surpass undoubtedly a lot. But as far as I'd say middle of the pack Big Ten offensive line.
I think there's a huge difference. I think if we want to talk about the line to so we're gonna kind of grade rushing and offensive line together here. It's you got to talk about the right side of the line and the left side of the line. The left side of the line was like the left side of the line was pretty bad, I'd say. Right side of the line, didn't hear a lot of numbers called. Oh, what the fuck was Newelly doing? What the fuck was Ben Hart doing? It was what the fuck is Piper doing and Corker doing and Prohaska doing? All those guys on the left side of the line, you know?
Yes, I agree. And Corcoran, is his eligibility up, or is he leaving Nebraska?
I mean, I think that Corcoran kind of knows that his time is probably he doesn't have a room at Nebraska. Yeah. I think that the feelings might be mutual there. He hasn't entered the portal yet, but just from this year and last year, pretty much no improvement, I feel like.
It's time for Dante to go to his dorm room and be like, hey, buddy, you're not blocking for my nephew. Get the fuck out of here. Pack your bags.
And that's what it's going to be like too. He's like, I got to protect my nephew, bro. Or if not, he's going to go somewhere else and Nebraska is going to hate me.
So, I got fired,
man. Yeah, they will. It's tough. Ben Scott did great at center this year. All those Jeff Sim fumbles were not Ben Scott's fault. I feel like there was no botched snaps, other than the quarterback's fault. Like shotgun passes right on the money. Never really his fault fucking up.
What's the grade? What's the grade though, Eddie?
So if we're giving the rushing a B to B plus, I want to give the offensive line maybe a B minus.
You got to also think about the offensive line though in the pass pro.
We do, but then pass pro wasn't bad. There was times when it wasn't their fault that they got sacked, that Heinrich got sacked because he's rolling out when he should have stayed in the pocket, or like the interceptions. Like it's just, I feel like there's so much blame to put on the quarterbacks this year that giving the grades to the rushing and the line, it kind of takes them down a little bit. It's tough.
It's a team game, man. That's how it works. I'm going to give the offensive line, I think it's got to be a C plus. I think it's got to be a C plus.
See, I agree with that because the left side of the line was so bad that it can't be a B.
No,
right side of the line, B. Left side of the line, D. So I'm going to call that a C plus.
And like you said, we're also grading this comparison to last year, and we're way better than we were last year.
Yeah. Major improvement. Is it the most improved position on the team?
I think so.
Offensively.
I think so.
Yeah, probably offensively, yeah.
Yeah.
And you could probably also say that all the other positions kind of diminished while the offensive line got better.
Yeah, for sure. We don't have a lot of time left. Do we want to get into receivers?
Let's get into receivers.
Okay, receivers.
I'll interrupt the podcast real quick. Nebraska just knocked off #1 Purdue. Go
Damn.
Big.
Go Big Red, baby.
I didn't even know that was on right now.
Let's
beat
go.
Up 88-72.
Woo! Damn, son.
That's a whooping right there, boy.
Raiola's already affecting the state, boy. He's already affected the state.
Yeah. Hey, you try to come into PBA and play Nebraska, we'll fucking show you what it's like. We'll show you what it's like, boy. And that's what it better be like in Lincoln next year. Anybody comes onto Tom Osborne Field, you're gonna leave with fucking blood. All right?
Blood.
It's gonna be yours. It's not gonna be
all right. We got no time. We're coming up on a timeline here. Receiving, I'm just gonna give my MVP off the rip. We only had a couple guys that caught the ball more than 10 times. Billy Kemp was the leading receiver and leading yards. I'm gonna give him my MVP.
Billy Kemp, most consistent. I'd have to agree with you there. Jalen Lloyd, he did have those long bombs that, put us in good positions to win. But Billy Kemp, the most consistent. I'd have to give it to Billy.
I agree. As much as I want to say Jalen Lloyd, it's got to be MVP. Most improved player again, Jalen Lloyd. Most MVP, Billy Kemp. Most disappointing player, Thomas Fidone.
Fidone, yes, exactly. I agree with that completely.
Yeah.
Again.
Hey, but also, if we're going to say the same thing about the offensive line with the quarterback being so shitty, it's hard to grade the O line
Yeah.
so bad. You have to have the same respect for the receivers because it's like Fedoni's like, I want the fucking ball where I can catch it, not behind me where I tip it
Yeah,
up and think
or
it's intercepted. Yeah,
up
Yeah,
here.
yeah,
he
yeah.
made some
I agree.
throws like his touchdown that he had. He probably had to jump 3 feet in the air to grab that and still made a terrific play. If we can
I
just get fucking Dylan to find him and put
Yeah.
it on the money, then let's see what Fedoni can do after the catch.
And
You
if
know,
you guys recall, I know Husker Hyper recalls, but for the listeners, Fedoni for like the first 4 weeks was one of the top 10 tight ends in the nation. He had the most touchdowns for like 3 weeks in a row.
yeah.
And then look how that fell.
And then he shushed Nebraska's crowd, which is a little weird, but hey, we can get past that. Hey,
But
hey,
this,
Buck, you're at home.
yeah, just like we were saying about the offensive line, though, man. Like the quarterback play, it's Aaron. It's a team sport, but
Yep.
dude, the grades that we're giving all these guys kind of do go on the quarterbacks a little bit. You know, like I feel like I'm giving a little less of a grade just because of
Just how shitty. Yeah.
what the quarterbacks kind of made them look like a little bit.
So I mean, honestly, the wide receivers, I really wasn't that like upset with them though. Like I feel like I could give them the higher score. A couple things like downfield blocking was kind of shitty, but I don't know how to grade that. I've never played football,
Good
so I
run,
feel like
dude. They had good run blocking. That Malachi Coleman had excellent run blocking all season.
no, I don't think that's true. We got to watch the tape. We got to cut some tape on that.
Okay,
We're gonna have to watch the tape, boys.
I'm gonna put that on a reminder. Cut some
debate.
tape. Yeah.
That's
okay.
a debate.
And then also let me just say I love the dream of playing for Nebraska and being a walk on, but we need guys who are named Jamal and Isaiah to catch the ball, not Alex and Ty. Okay. I'm just gonna say that. That's all I'm saying, dude. That's I'm just gonna leave the wide receiver room with that, dude.
Hey, but honestly, I feel like wide receivers is one. Obviously, quarterback was most excited for, but wide receivers is what I'm most excited for next year, especially on the offensive side of the ball.
Yeah. I
We're
am
bringing
too.
in Banks pretty soon too. Jamal Banks, watch out.
Jamal Banks, he's a dog.
Overall
And
score for the offense. What are we giving them?
D plus.
yeah, in the D's, yeah.
D plus.
There we go. D
All right,
plus. We'll
folks.
give
So
them a
that
D
was it.
plus.
Maybe we can wrap this up next week a little bit, talking on the offense. We're talking about the defense next week. But folks, that was episode 35 of the Husker Hype Radio podcast. We hope you enjoyed. We will talk defense, special teams next week. As always, bleed red, shit corn, go big.
Go
Big
Big
Red.
Red.
Fuck the Boilermakers.